The lullaby graves. Thomas hadn't wanted the job. 3 months unemployed had forced his hand. The cemetery needed a night watchman and he needed rent money. Simple economics. Just walk the grounds every 2 hours, Mr. Harlow had explained, handing over a ring of ancient keys. Check the gates, the mausoleum, and the chapel. Nothing ever happens here. Thomas believed him for exactly 4 nights. On the 5th night, just after 2 a.m., while passing the eastern corner, the oldest part of Oakwood Cemetery, he heard it. Faint at first, like wind through leaves, then unmistakable. Children's laughter. He froze, flashlight beams slicing through the fog that hugged the gravestones. The sound disappeared as suddenly as it had arrived. Thomas convinced himself it was just the wind playing tricks. The next night it happened again. This time it wasn't just laughter but singing. Distant, ethereal voices of children, their melody haunting and unfamiliar. "Something bothering you?" Mr. Harlow asked the following morning, noticing Thomas's bloodshot eyes. "I heard children singing near the eastern corner." Harlow's expression faltered momentarily. "The wind gets strange over there, moves through the old oak branches." "It wasn't wind," Thomas insisted. Harlow sighed. "Look in the records room when you get a chance. Eastern section, 1878. That afternoon, Thomas found himself leafing through dusty ledgers. The eastern corner held 127 graves from summer and fall of 1878. Most belonged to children under 10. Cause of death, diphtheria, a forgotten epidemic that had swept through the town, claiming its youngest residents first. Thomas read the names aloud. Emma Wilson, age 6. Samuel Pierce, age 4. Charlotte Murphy, age 7. The history hung heavy in his chest as he began his shift that night. Around 1 a.m., Thomas found himself drawn to the eastern corner. The fog was thicker there, swirling between the small, weathered stones, many no bigger than garden markers. Then he heard it, not just singing this time, but a specific melody, a lullaby. "Hello?" he called, voice breaking. "Is someone there?" The singing stopped abruptly. Silence pressed against his eardrums until a single child's laugh pierced the night, followed by a whispered "shh" that seemed to come from directly behind him. Thomas whirled around, nothing but gravestones and fog. He began walking the grounds more frequently, especially around the eastern corner. The singing became a nightly occurrence, always between 1 and 3 a.m. Sometimes just whispers, sometimes clear enough to make out words. "Sleep, sleep, little ones. The darkness won't last. Morning is coming, the fever will pass." Thomas started researching. The diphtheria epidemic had claimed 94 children in 3 months. Newspaper accounts described mass funerals, tiny coffins lined up outside the church. One article mentioned a nurse who would sing to the dying children, a lullaby she had composed to comfort them in their final hours. 2 weeks in, Thomas began leaving small offerings: a toy car, a ribbon, a paper windmill. By morning, they would be moved, rearranged in ways that defied the wind. Once, he left a small rubber ball that disappeared entirely, only to be found the next night balanced atop the tallest gravestone. "You've lasted longer than most," Mr. Harlow remarked after Thomas's first month. "The children don't bother me," Thomas replied. Harlow's face paled. "Don't get attached, and don't encourage them." "Why not? They're just children." "They're not," Harlow said sharply. "Whatever you're hearing, they're not children anymore." That night, Thomas ventured to the eastern corner shortly after midnight. "I brought something," he announced to the quiet darkness, placing a small music box on a flat stone. He wound it up, and a tinkling melody filled the air. For several minutes, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the fog began to coalesce. Not randomly, but deliberately. Small, vaguely human shapes forming between the gravestones. A child's voice, clearer than Thomas had ever heard before, spoke. "Will you play with us, Thomas?" His heart lurched. He had never told them his name. "It gets lonely here," another voice added, this one seemingly from behind a nearby oak. "Play what?" Thomas asked, his mouth dry. "Hide and seek," said a chorus of voices, excited giggles rippling through the fog. "You seek first. Close your eyes and count." Thomas hesitated, then slowly closed his eyes. 1, 2, 3. The sounds of scampering feet and suppressed giggles surrounded him. 8, 9, 10, ready or not? He called, opening his eyes. The graveyard had changed. The fog now hung like a solid curtain around the eastern corner, obscuring everything beyond. The gravestones looked newer, cleaner. As Thomas moved, he noticed small footprints in the dewy grass, heading in all directions. He followed one set toward a large memorial stone. "Found you," he called, peering behind it. A small face peered back, not solid, but not quite transparent either. A girl, perhaps 7, in an old-fashioned nightgown, her eyes hollow and dark. "You're good at this," she said, her voice echoing strangely. "Now find the others." One by one, Thomas found them, behind trees, under benches, crouching between graves. Each child materialized more clearly than the last, some with visible symptoms of their final illness: swollen necks, fevered eyes. The last child, a boy no older than 4, grabbed Thomas's hand when found. His touch felt like ice water seeping into Thomas's skin. "Now you hide," the boy said, his smile revealing blackened gums. "And we'll seek." "I should get back to my rounds," Thomas said, suddenly aware of how complete the fog's enclosure had become. He could no longer see the path out. "But we've only just started playing," said the girl, now standing directly in front of him. All around, the children had formed a loose circle. "No one ever plays with us." "Maybe tomorrow night," Thomas offered, backing away. "There is no tomorrow for us," another child said flatly. "Only tonight. Forever." Thomas felt small hands clutching at his jacket, his pants, surprisingly strong. "Let go," he demanded, voice rising. "But you're it now," they chanted in unison, their voices blending into a single droning tone. "You're it forever." When Mr. Harlow arrived the next morning, he found Thomas's flashlight abandoned in the eastern corner. The night watchman himself was nowhere to be found. A small music box lay open on a grave marker, silent, its mechanism unwound. Harlow sighed heavily as he picked up the flashlight. He'd have to place another ad. The children always needed someone new to play with. As he walked away, he heard it start again behind him, the faint sound of a lullaby sung by many voices, and underneath it, a new voice learning the words.